Hello YouTube and welcome to episodes 2 and 3 in the Tatami Galaxy reaction series. Got a bit of a neck beard going on today because I don't want to shave, but we're here anyway and we're going to watch 2 episodes today, so extremely excited to jump in. Just a bit on the schedule going forward. I've had a look and apparently there's 11 episodes in this show, which is a bit of a weird number. Uh, Therefore, going 2 a week from here should lead to a nice, solid conclusion. There's also some specials, and I'm unsure if I should cover them, but they seem pretty short, so I might just chuck them in the end of the last episode anyway. As with every video in this reaction series, I'm going to go over the comments and have a quick look at what you guys had to say about the previous episode. One thing I've noticed is there's a little bit of comment crossover between this and the Monogatari series, just between the commenters, which is nice. It's nice to see that some of you guys have jumped over and are watching Tatami Galaxy with me as well. And yeah, having watched a little bit of Tatami Galaxy now and a fair bit of Monogatari, I can see the similarities there, and fans of both would be fond of the other, I would imagine. The first comment here is from Hot Wheels Kid. He says that the voice actor for Akashi is the same voice actor for Shinobu in Monogatari. I'm imagining that's Shinobu from the Kizumonogatari movies, considering I haven't really seen Shinobu speak other than that. I guess I can see that. Very talented voice actress. If you guys see anything like this with the VA stuff, it's really nice to see it in a comment, because otherwise I'd be looking it up on something like my anime list and opening up myself to potential spoilers. I don't generally like doing that. So if you guys could drop me a name for certain voice actors and that kind of thing, that would be ideal. Matthew B comments here. The abrasive style of Tatami is definitely something that you will get familiarity with as it goes on. It ends up working super well because, along with the constant stream of information, it also uses a bunch of cool visual metaphors and imagery to help reinforce it as it goes along. Stylistically, I think it's simply one of the most, if not the coolest looking anime, along with Monogatari. The simple but expressive character designs allow them to use all kinds of bizarre, cool angles that the characters move around in. Every frame is dripping with characterization, plus its use of color is equally gorgeous and emotive. I agree with everything you've said so far. I also think that my reaction video style, where I then go through the episode again once I'm done, kind of helps with this. I'm not going to miss any of that stuff, I hope not anyway. And yeah, I noted the character animation as one of the main things that I like about the show, and the backgrounds are, always really good. It's Yuasa. They're very arty, it's kind of his thing. He continues, "It's unfortunate that you weren't the biggest fan of Azukin. I quite like it, as do a lot of other people as well. But I can totally see your reasoning why. Regardless, I think you'll still really like Yuasa given that you like Japan Sinks. That one, while certainly inconsistent, displays some scenes that really show his talent for creating a somber tone. If you get to it, you'll find that it's used throughout Ping Pong as well. Yuasa has a wide variety of wonderful shows, from dark cyberpunky action series Devilman Crybaby to the imaginative, wonder-filled sci-fi of Kaiba, and then his big two in Tatami and Ping Pong, which IMO are just two of the most impressively put together anime in pretty much every facet. Yeah, Ping Pong was on the poll for a reason. I want to see it at some point, so it'll appear again for sure. I haven't heard of Kaiba before now, and that seems really cool. So imaginative, wonder-filled sci-fi, you say? Sounds up my alley. Might pop it on a poll as well. We'll have to see anyway, but thank you very much for commenting. And the last comment here from Venomous. Lovely, this is definitely one of my all-time favorite shows, along with Kaiba and Ping Pong the animation. Yuasa's made some incredible stuff. Surprised about how you felt about Eizouken and Japan Sinks. It's usually the other way around. Yes, it is. I'm a weirdo, it's fine. I think everyone feels like they got punched in the face when the dialogue kicks in during the first scene, but you get used to it and it's generally not quite that machine gun pace later on. Either way, it's witty and entertaining. Then links a time code. I think I remember the scene you're referring to, where he's kind of like, I want somebody that can, understand my great thoughts and that kind of thing. But yeah, it might be the exact opposite in that, hey, I'm really awful. I don't want anybody. I want somebody that's, can't comprehend my stuff. Somebody not like Akaji-san, who is quite smart and would realize that he's quite awful after getting to know him. Kind of feeds into his own kind of self-loathing thing he's got going on as well, about not being able to love and am I able to love and all these kind of questions that were brought up in the last episode. Speaking of the last episode, I'm going to jump into a little bit of a recap now. This one ended up kind of long, so I don't know if I'll do recaps in as much detail last time, but there was a lot of stuff that caught my eye and I want to see what's relevant going forward. We zoom in on our main character eating ramen at Neko Ramen in conversation with Kamotake. He's got a longer name, but I'm just going to call him Kamotake. at this point, I think. Kamatake is the supposed god of this area and will soon travel to Izumo to start matchmaking mere mortals. Kamatake lives in the same dorm as our protagonist, who I don't think has a name yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's nameless. He asks the main character if he would like some input into deciding the fate of Akashi-san. Akashi-san is the main character's kohai. Kamatake is deciding between matching Akashi-san with the main character or Ozu. He says to come see him if he wants more information. We flash back to the main character's freshman year, where he tried to turn over a new leaf from his dreary high school life and join the tennis club and start his rose-colored university college adventure. However, he got his heart broken and didn't fit in with the popular cliques of the club, and this is when he meets Ozu, who is like literally a gremlin man, who helps him turn to the dark side, and now he breaks up couples and spoils the fun of the popular cliques as the Black Cupid, these kind of duo that go around breaking people up. After setting off fireworks directly at the popular cliques, he runs into a fortune teller who tells him some vague stuff about taking his opportunities, which I would imagine ties into the whole Akashi-san situation that he's got going on as well. He then meets up with Ozu at a bar question mark, it's like a bar restaurant, where Ozu reinforces his negative influence on our main character. Ozu is replaced at the table by Akashi-san. Akashi-san was at the fireworks debacle and notices some of the others that were there too at a nearby table. She agrees to cover the bill and lets our main character escape on the condition that he fulfills his promise. We flash back and get some introduction to Akashi-san, who seems to be kind of awful, blunt, antisocial, like some guy tries to pick her up and then he just immediately shuts her down. I don't even think it was pick her up, I think it was just making conversation. So definitely kind of cold, that's how I'd describe her. We flash back forward to where Ozu gives our main character some kind of cake. Inadvertently, he thinks to share this cake with Akashi-san. This gets our main character to thinking about a number of different things, as to why he thought of Akashi-san in this situation, why the gods are even concerned with the relationships of mere mortals, how would I feel if Ozu got with Akashi-san, and the idea of even if he is allowed to love, based on his actions as Black Cupid and stopping the love of so many other different people. The combination of all these factors and the frustration created from it caused him to eat the cake in rage, the entire cake by himself. This causes another flashback again to the main character's first meeting with Akashi-san, really. Akashi-san gets scared by a moth and then some other stuff happens, but it's like a really nice scene, really romantic. The main character finds one of the plushies that Akashi-san has lost and agrees to a promise to go on a kind of a date to the Neko ramen cafe kind of thing. I think at this point the main character kind of realizes that he likes Akashi-san and goes to Kamatake in room 210. Kamatake says that he needs to ask Akashi-san on a date to get the ball rolling, but he doesn't kind of muster up the courage to do so. Then Ozu enters the scene and makes some kind of grand gesture, imploring the main character to kind of take his opportunity. Ozu is then pushed into a rushing river nearby, potentially by these people in the popular cliques. It was kind of unexplained. Our main character then follows suit, and as he's falling, he laments his life up to this point and his college life and wishes that he could go back and do things differently. Then we kind of see a little bit of a rewind thing, and then the episode ends. So I've got a few predictions. One, is there some kind of time travel involved, time loop element to the show? I think that there might be, and if so, then that's really cool. I really enjoy those kind of premises for shows, and I didn't really expect it to go in a kind of fantasy sci-fi direction like this, so should be good. Another couple broad predictions, like, is Ozu a real human? I'm kind of thinking that he might be some kind of godly manifestation of these kind of negative thoughts or something to that effect. Conversely, is Kamatake a real god, or is he just a kind of college kid playing a prank on him? Either one of these two options could be real, it just depends on if we go in this kind of fantasy direction or not. And one thing I want to see is a date between Akashi-san and our main character, because I think it would be funny and cute, so I want to see that. Not that I think we'll see it in these next couple episodes. Just before I jump into the next episode, I'm just going to do my show stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation, or anything you want to in general, just comment below. And I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you want to see my tweets, and I'll retweet your stuff, and it'll be sick. Rightio, we're going to jump into episode 2 right now. Rightio, got episode 2 up here ready to go. There should be a picture-in-picture link in the description. Let me pop that up on screen now. Just got a black screen in front of me. It turns out that they are called the opportunity subs, so if you wanted a different sub track, please let me know. But these seem pretty good so far, so I might just keep rolling with it. The time code on this episode is 22 minutes and 50 seconds, and I think I'm just going to jump right in. Let's give it a 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Who is you? I love that shot. What fetish? Yes. Yes. He certainly does. He seems like a bad influence, is what I'm getting. Who is Joga Saki-san? Okay. I think this guy was in the opening. Oh, is it now? Who is that? Is this episode 2? Yes, it most certainly is. Strange. I think we're going to get some connective tissue at some point. At least I hope so. Yeah, that character there. Is that Joga Saki that they're talking about? And then there was that character that we just saw there as well. And there's Sheriff Woody, who is obviously in the show. This opening's really cool. I like the song in particular. Because you used to your like kind of standard J-pop fare, which I'm not adverse to, but when you get like a genuine rock song, it's pretty cool too. I want to get more Akashi-san. I think she's really cool. So yes, okay, yes. That's a great technique, actually. Putting like the little Oh, he goes to a different circle. Okay, not quite. Authoritarian rule. Yeah, okay. This guy's fun. There's pretty fun stuff that they're doing though. That was great too. It was like looking through water. Okay, sir. That movement was really great too. It almost looked rotoscoped. Yeah. Yes. Little tail there. Interesting. Okay. What's wrong with that? That Titanic guy. True. Hmm. Then the person who laughed was Akashi-san. Hmm. I don't get the reference there, but sure. Authoritarian ruler, huh? He sounds really awful. True. They'll go back once you're popular. Hmm. So he doesn't seem to have any memory of it. Hmm. Or maybe he has some? That's a fun concept for deja vu, though. Hmm. Great. That repeated scene again. Hmm. Hmm. This guy's weird. The guy at the back. Hmm. So we're the morally correct ones for breaking into his house. Hmm. Ozzy's curious. Definitely not weird at all. I like how he did a pirouette into the 18 section. Hmm. A personal attack film. Documentaries that are objective? No, they're not. Yes. So it's interesting that those two are still in this story together, right? Ooh, fortune teller again? Very fun. Hmm. Great. Hmm. I do too. What was it, 1,000 last time? Yes, hello. Oh, great. A little bit meta, but sure. Okay, friendo. No, but I care so deeply about films in this universe. Oh. Great. But that's a great line. Yes. And then what happened? I like how he's making like Ben Hur or something. Oh, is he going to put his film in instead? Great. Hello. I didn't even know Akashi-san was in the crowd. Was in the club, I mean. Okay. Pretty cold. Yes. Bit of ramune, is it? I didn't hate it. It's the most anyone's ever said for it. So Akashi-san did the 3D effects for this movie. Okay. And is that why he's letting it play? Hmm. Great. Uh. Ugh. Great. Oh no. He's climbing his. I didn't realize there was a wall of boobs. This is This is actually like a pretty good if they release this film like completely, it'd be a pretty good like art film. Who is Kaori? Like a doll? Okay. He's still got all his lieutenants. True. Hmm. Well, I mean, it was questionable character. Hmm. Is this kind of reflecting the fireworks from the last one? Oh, again with the promise. No, you don't. Again with the Castella, I think it was called. Yeah. So he ate it this time. Oh, would it now? Oh, progressive. Great. So they still got the same kind of filter over it. Mochiguman. Well, the Earth's flat, so. Hmm. So instead of the Neko ramen, this time it's about the film. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, is that why Ozu was in kind of drag last episode? Great. Well, how cool's that? The clock tower working again? We gonna choose a different club again? Is that it? Really? Yeah, it is. That episode was so fast. But there's the connection there, right? Between. Because Ozu showed up in drag in the first episode, right? Like right there at the end. Very interesting. This ending's really cool, by the way. Like the song's kind of a different vibe. And now, kind of this floor plan, kind of spreading out, could be seen as like the different routes you can take, right? But they all kind of have the same floor plan, right? This is really interesting. I could talk about this for like ages. I understand what a Tatami galaxy is now in relation to a college dorm, and now I understand what the opening's doing as well. Cool. Radio, just going to jump into a little bit of analysis on that episode. So that was a great episode. I really enjoyed that. It kind of revealed a bit more of the conceit of the show going forward, which I think is figuring out different things about the situation between the main characters that kind of stick around. I think Jogasaki-san's going to stick around as well. Between him, Akashi-san, our main character, Ozu, and Kamotake. I think each kind of loop will reveal different information about how these characters fit into this one central narrative. Uh, this time looping stuff kind of talks a little bit to destiny and fate and the people that you are destined to be with, and do the gods have some kind of control over that. The repeated scenes that they use between episodes are key, right? So we're going to watch for these going forward. There's going to be always a fortune teller. There's probably going to be always a Castella scene followed by a romantic scene, something to that effect. Ozu's always going to be there after he's frustrated with something with a particular club. He will turn to Ozu, turn to his dark side. You could kind of see it as almost like a devil on the shoulder, angel on the shoulder with Ozu and I don't know Akashi or maybe Kamotake or something to that effect, right? Trying to influence him in different directions. Found it interesting that Kamotake didn't have any lines here, but he's still around, kind of just observing what our main character does in the situation. I'm not much of a film student, but I have friends who are, and this is definitely kind of matching their experience, if that makes any sense. There's always the people that do the thing that is very obvious and get very much rewarded for it. So it's kind of clicking for me there. There's definitely some people I know that are like Jogasaki-san. Between this and Eizoken, I guess Yuasa kind of has something for making kind of media about making media. So there's a lot of nice meta stuff here. Especially at the end, I want to talk about the kind of screen, like reflecting back on the movie that he made with Ozu, where he was kissing Ozu. And then there's the connection at the end, right, where last episode Ozu showed up in drag, and it was kind of unexplained. But then in this scene, we see him in drag again. So is that kind of some kind of connection going forward as well? I don't know. Either way, this was extremely entertaining. It took me a while to get that it was actually episode 2 and we hadn't skipped ahead because I thought it would pick up kind of right where we left off, but it didn't. But yeah, the reveal of information's good. I think the jokes that they have about Jogasaki-san are good. Um, and yeah, I'll just pop the episode up now and we'll just go through it, I think. And I'll tell you my thoughts in greater detail. So we see that our two deviants have placed cameras in various locations in his room, which makes sense because they had a key, because Ozu kind of got his trust. It's all kind of clicking now, which is good. And that's how they get all the footage for the film later. And yeah, we find out later why they're spying on him and why he's such a detestable guy. Oh, and who knew he had such a fetish? Okay. In reference to, yeah, okay. That's why his girlfriend is like that instead of flesh and blood. Okay. In reference to Kaori, I think her name was. We'll say, and she's a doll. Yeah, he's a bit of a weirdo. This old Jogasaki, but but yeah, I like the reveal of information here. Right, it had me guessing, had me curious from the start, and then kind of expanded on that at the end, and it all kind of clicked into place. While still using the elements of the last episode that are important to telling this kind of time loop, destiny, fate type story. So props to the creative team. It's working so far. The reveal of information's satisfying. So I wanted to talk about this opening and kind of the tatami floor plan kind of thing, kind of motif they have going on. So think about college, right? Think about university. You're all living in these different rooms that are the same room, essentially, right? But they all contain different ways you can kind of go in your tertiary education, right? But they're always still the base elements. They're always still the same room. I think it'll be interesting how they're going to expand upon that metaphor going forward. It's similar in the story, right? We're always using these same elements. No matter what he does in university, it's the same. I think they're trying to say something to that effect. Hence why in this opening we're going through all these different rooms that are extremely similar, right? It's like the same room, like loop repeated. Extremely smart, and I want to see what their kind of solution to it is at the very end. Kind of how they break this cycle. It's gonna be interesting to see. So that kind of these characters keep flipping, right? This is their kind of different designs based on what happens as well. The different loop. Like this is a very different, like Akashi-san with her hair up, which looks awesome, and the jacket's cool too. I guess we're gonna have to see. I don't know who this like Bumblebee man is. I guess we're gonna have to see later. But yeah, smart. Smart is the word that I would use to describe Tatami Galaxy so far. Don't see a lot of smart stuff, so this is good. So here's where we get a number of repeating scenes between the episodes as well, kind of to help establish this time loop thing they got going on. It also conveniently is a cost-cutting measure, which helps when there's that much effort put into all the different episodes of this show. I particularly liked kind of the generation of these, I don't know what you'll call them, kind of 3D models, kind of AR things coming out of the different flyers. Like these are the different routes you can take throughout the Tatami Galaxy kind of game, if in a way, you know what I mean? Like he's chosen the tennis one, now he's going to choose the movie making one. And next episode, I think they foreshadowed that it's the Birdman Society or something to that effect, which I don't know what that means, but anyway. And yes, he joins the movie circle, but a very similar set of circumstances starts to transpire. He falls in love with somebody, gets dumped, cool, loses love, loses the want to love. He isn't included in any of the kind of popular cliques or any of that. And yeah, he kind of loses faith in the club in a way, right? In the tennis club story, he kind of eventually ends up leaving the club, but here they kind of keep the kind of movie conceit going forward. I also wanted to highlight this sincerity versus authority. So, authority is very much associated with Jogasaki. They've got the whole dictator thing going on where he's being kind of worshipped as a god in some scenes, which, you can draw implications there. And in some others, when he's kind of forcing and ordering people around, kind of using that authoritarian leader kind of imagery that they have going on. Versus sincerity, where, you know, despite the films being kind of weird and out there, uh, our main character is making films from the heart. He's making what he really wants to make. And when he turns away from making these kind of films from the heart, that's when Akashi-san starts to, scold him for that, right? She kind of sees through it in a way. They also, yeah, king here. He's a king. So king, god, authoritarian leader. They're piling it on thick. That's all I'm trying to say. I'll say some of the effect stuff that they have going on here is pretty good for like university. It's got all the boom mics and everything, but they got like the kind of the bungee setup there, which does break because they're students, but it's pretty good. Again, character animation's on point. Like this guy is just so punchable. Like cat. Like come on, dude. And there's the scene previous. Kind of the movement on these guys is kind of nuts. It's on twos, but like so much like character animating like 3 or 4 different characters at once is pretty good. Just nice looking. Classy stuff from Yuasa and the animation team there. Yep, so he's authoritarian in the way that he wants more takes and that kind of thing, and he wants to make it perfect. And he's kind of got this whole popular movie thing going on. He worships Hollywood. He worships kind of the lowest common denominator filmmaking, which again paints our main character in a bit of a snobby light, right? He doesn't want to be associated with any of this populism stuff. He wants to make real artistic movies and that kind of thing, right? Where in a different movie, I think Jogasaki-san could be kind of the hero in a way, populist hero. But he's kind of ordering these dumb drones around in his class, and it's kind of framed very negatively. I don't know. It's kind of this dichotomy, right? It's like this real like populism versus authorial intent kind of thing they have going on, like critic bait movies versus populist movies, and is there a middle ground, and what should we be doing in film school, and all these kind of things, right? Smart, very meta. But yeah, I like how he's associated with kind of these like very 60s movies, right? These like classic historical dramas, these way too long, over dramatic Hollywood like smashes, right? That would be popular like 50 years ago. He wants to make these epics, and does he he's think they say he idolizes James Cameron in a way as well, which is anyway, we'll get to it. It's just very interesting, I think. I wonder what other clubs he'll go to through this kind of looping scenario, and if I'll be able to mine it for as much stuff as they do with the film club. It'd be interesting. Again, the character animation here is just nuts. I thought this was almost rotoscoped. Still looks like it might be actually, but like just really smooth, like just great stuff. Like real, when they like look at how the human body moves and try to apply that to animation, that's kind of what they're doing here. It's really cool. And we could kind of interpret this as our main character's lowest moment before he meets and gets corrupted by Ozu again. But how much of it is Ozu's doing and how much of it is the main character's doing? That's a little question we're going to have as well. And he is being depicted with a foxtail. Now, foxes are kind of associated with kind of trickery and sneaking around and this kind of thing, right? Very negative connotation, right? I think that's what they're doing anyway. Again, it feels like he is outside the story. He is like a god like Kamotake, right? Interfering in the lives of these mortals. Like there's destiny involved here. Like he's meant to meet up with these people at this time, and this is meant to happen in this order, but he keeps going back, right? I don't know. It's just very interesting. I think I'm kind of getting it right. I'm pretty sure Ozu isn't really a character. If that makes any sense. He's inserted into this to play tricks on the main character themselves. But again, I bring up the question: how much of that is Ozu's influence, and how much of that is just the main character's actual personality? Movies must definitely not be allowed to be poisoned by commercialism, says Ozu. Again, is this just a little devil on the main character's shoulder, right? Saying what he thinks, these darker feelings right into his ear. I just had a thought. I'm going to go check something. This character design here, is this similar to another one? No, kind of not really. Okay, never mind. I thought that the dentist with Ozu was kind of similar to this character here, but not the case. We're going to have to say. Alright, and then he kind of goes through the own films that he has made through his own kind of journey in the film club up to this point. This sounds like a movie I would watch. So, what is the premise here? After the war in the Pacific, two men continue a battle of historic pranks, exhausting the limits of intelligence and physical strength. A movie overflowing war and violence. Of course, it was ignored, and the only person in the theater who laughed was Akashi-san. I think this is a great idea for a movie, kind of painting these kind of war generals, right? These very important men as kind of, immature boys, you know, playing with other people's lives and this kind of thing, right? Very dark comedy kind of film. I think that's kind of what he's trying to make anyway. And by the look here, this seems like something that would do pretty well in film school. My second work, a sentimental movie between a man wavering between three women. Patterned after King Lear, it received a storm of vilification from the women's camp. And again, Akashi-san laughed at the movie. That one I'm not so sure of. It seems a little bit weird. I used to be familiar with King Lear, but I'm not, so I don't know what they're trying to say there. And my third work, a man trapped in a never-ending maze of 4.5 tatami rooms, and his attempts to escape from it. It was dead on arrival after people said, I've seen this premise somewhere before. Akashi-san was the only one who gave me useful criticism. So this could be seen as a little bit meta, right, with the use of the tatami rooms and, never-ending kind of loop. I don't know. Akashi-san was the only one who gave me useful criticism. Okay. Our next work shall be Alexander the Great. And yeah, he's got his whole, you know, SS uniform on and that kind of thing. And yeah, again, this like old school Hollywood filmmaking, this just greater than life kind of movies. They use great historical figures, like big, huge historical dramas. Again, I said Ben-Hur. Something to that effect, I think. Clearly inspired by the big filmmakers, the event filmmakers, where protagonist is obviously inspired by a bit more of the art house stuff. They will always recognize a film that's true to itself, but he wants success now. Damn it! Uh, so yeah, they lament Jogasaki-san and him being kind of the central filmmaker, and they don't understand their genius artiste. Again, he seems very full of himself, but comes with its level of insecurity as well. Again, much like a college student, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Now, this is interesting. Have we had this conversation before? Yes, they have, in a different time loop. And they kind of explain it away like deja vu, deja vu. But, uh, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much he remembers going through each loop, and if he remembers any of the important stuff. Because it seems to this point that he doesn't have a lot of memory of it. The other thing I wanted to expound upon is Ozu seems like the manifestation of kind of his negative feelings, right? He's this kind of jealousy of Jogasaki-san's success, right? So we're going to put all of my energy now into this film to take him down. Similar to kind of the Black Cupid thing they had going on last time, right? I'm so jealous of all these lovey-dovey couples in the tennis club that I'm going to go around wrecking it. I'm going to set off the fireworks at these people across the thing. Again, Ozu's always there goading him on. So Jogasaki-san doesn't have very good grades. He's repeated it 8 times or something, they say. Or he's been there 8 years. And to escape this reality of his poor grades, his heart has been more and more captured by the boobs of his female circle members. So then later we see like the wall of boobs that he has in his like house, which is just weird. And yeah, he draws like little illustrations of them here and grades them. Yeah, this guy's weird. So then he's just a boob dictator, and I like the guy in the back, like, what are they talking about? Very funny. Again, you know, character animation, character design, comedy. It's all hand in hand, and it's fantastic here. Again, Oz is very like, I'll follow you wherever you go, director. And again, he's motivated by a later scene to go and try harder on this documentary and make this hit piece and do all this other stuff, right? Focus on the negative emotions, focus on the jealousy, right? But it's not rewarded. It's never rewarded, is it? Yeah, Kamotake is here too, right? So these two. Very interesting. So here's where our main character kind of has second thoughts about the whole project, right? Walks out to get some air. They've been in there a long time editing all their, dirty footage together into some kind of expose. But yeah, he walks away, right? To be lured in by the fortune teller. And the fortune teller says a very similar thing. You have an opportunity here, you have to grasp it. The price goes up again as well, which is fun. So it's kind of, you have an opportunity to move past this, be more true to yourself, and get the person that you want to be with, right? But no, he continues focusing on these negative things, and that's leading him to keep repeating the same mistakes. There's something there. Again, this whole thing's like a metaphor, right? It's a metaphor for college. Metaphor for life, really. Again, the Hollywood system is best in the end, probably a little bit on the nose, but yeah. See, he interprets Jogasaki walking with his drunken mates and saying something that he probably shouldn't to somebody that's a little bit rude, um, as them being, sycophantic over him being like an emperor, right? Which isn't far from the truth, we learn in the end, but still. This is a dick move, though. If you want to show them to other people, at least keep a minimum of etiquette. Make sure it's digestible for the rest of the people. That's a dick move. And it causes him to fire up and, make the hit piece that he wanted to make. This was a particularly pointed line. Below my feet ran the Takasi River. Just as shallow as all the mass-produced independent films Jogasaki Senpai ever made. Ouch. So yeah, he seems very convinced of himself as an artiste, right? I found it curious up to this point we hadn't seen Akashi-san once. She wasn't mentioned at all. So whilst he was focused on making this kind of hit piece movie, he wasn't focused on Akashi-san, or even considering her feelings on the matter. And we hop into a very similar flashback sequence for Akashi-san. Right, we're at the premiere now. We're too far to take back our previous actions. And he does want to change it now that Akashi-san is there. He wants to change the film over and make sure that the, actual film plays. He remembers himself a little bit. Now, this scene plays out very similarly to the scene in the previous episode where Akashi-san kind of blows off all these other guys. Seems really, icy on the outside. Like, Akashi-san, you sure are fair-skinned. And then she kind of turns around and bops him on the head. Verbally, of course. We get this scene here. You made another idiotic movie, but I didn't hate it. So yeah, she's she's saying that she liked his movie, kind of in a backwards way, like Akashi-san would. And yeah, he begins to feel bad at the situation, right? Like, hey, maybe we should call it off. And again, Ozu's like goading him on. What happened to your pride as a filmmaker? But it's too late. It's almost time. And then it starts, and all the expose stuff starts coming out. So they reveal an obvious piece of like kind of fourth wall breaking, kind of we're making a movie type stuff. And then he like shits himself, just does a load of awful things. He's worried that he stinks, and then he like rubs his underarms with soap and then dries them in the dryer, which is very funny. He kind of tosses away somebody else's gift. What else does he do? He steals something, maybe? What is this? Yeah, seems like he steals something. Bit of a clean freak. Calls his mom mommy. Kind of got an infantilism thing going on where he drinks from a bottle as well. And then he's really into like boobies. And then he's got like a doll that he plays with, like that's life size, that he uses for less than, reputable means. He seems like a real weirdo. Which I'm wondering if this will keep coming back, like we keep exposing what a weirdo the Jogasaki is. I wonder if this is exclusive to this kind of loop. So similar to last time, like, oh shit, we're gonna get caught, we're running away, blah 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 blah. Last time it was fireworks, this time it was, this movie. And Oz is like, after forcing me to do all that, that's a weird thing to say. Again, it all comes from inside him. It isn't Ozu that's influencing to do these things. He doesn't become a darker person for seeing Ozu like this. It's him. And I think he needs to realize that, and that's kind of part of the story, I think. Akashi-san enters scene. You created another idiotic movie, but I preferred your earlier films. It's weird, right? You could imply that the film that they ended up making was ultimately like a really art house film, like an actual like expose of the main actor and that kind of thing, and all of these weird fetishes, and kind of breaks the fourth wall and shows what a scumbag he is behind these kind of grandiose films. But yeah, I prefer your earlier films. They're less filled with kind of the spite, right? You just don't need it. Don't concern yourself with it. And brings up the promise again. You haven't kept your promise yet. But the promise here changes, which is an interesting thing. So, no more Neko Ramen. This time it's to do with making a film about true love. And here the cake has already been eaten. Ozu must have eaten it for him. A love romance in which two people tied by fate would overcome their positions, ages, and even sexes. Sounds like a good movie. I'd watch that. Seems a bit broad, but, he put the effort into making parts of it already, as we see later. And she says it looks like it'll be something weird again. Before we play out a very similar scene with this moth and the plushie that he still collects. So those are some other elements that are staying between loops. So instead of finding this plushie, I'd rather you fulfill the promise. You make this movie. You make the film that's about true love. For me. Again, they're pretty obvious here, so opportunity is always dangling in front of your eyes, right? Where the kind of the plushie being a metaphor for the relationship and the promise with Akashi-san. And then it plays it very similarly here again. I thought back to my first day at university, right? I chose the movie club. If I had chosen some other club like the Human Flight Circle Birdman, potentially I'd be more happy. Potentially I would have lived this rose colored life. And the film is kind of, Ozu's playing the woman because he can't get an actual woman actor to play any of these other parts. And yeah, we see him kind of in a screen looking in the universe created in this true love movie he was trying to make, and then it reverses from there, it rewinds, right? So it's kind of screen on top of screen, and then we're in the movie, and yeah, I see what they're doing here. The movie club conceit just fits this kind of loop thing they've got going on so well. You can take it in a million different directions. Kind of each of these different clubs is going to be associated with a different metaphor regarding the kind of same elements, if that makes any sense. See, here we kind of saw the difference between this kind of populist filmmaking and the kind of artsy filmmaking. And I wonder if we're going to see that split again with a different club. Again, what are they going to do with the Human Flight Club? That'll be interesting. Much like last episode, the clock tower ticks, it turns to a new different number, and we start reversing. Reverse back through the episode into the ED. And that's the end of episode 2. Episode 2 is fantastic. I loved it. And I'm really looking forward to the third episode. So I'm just going to jump right in now. No need to stand on ceremony, I guess. Radio, got episode 3 up here ready to go. Again, using the same subtrack. There should be a picture in picture link in the description and all that. So just going to jump right in, I think. I'll pop it up on screen. And the time code is 22 minutes and 50 seconds again. So there you go. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Yes, lightweight machine. Yes, true. So he's like in a cycling club or something. Will you now? Who are these like gremlin people? These like orcs. They stole his bike. Hmm. Yes. Yeah, it seems a little bit shady. I like the character design on the kind of the main guy too. Hmm. Who is opening? Interesting. So maybe we're not keeping as many elements as I thought, or this is kind of a preview and then we're going to skip ahead again. We're going to run through the kind of rose colored campus life thing again. Yeah, no, the doll and the other character I was talking about are different characters, I think, definitely. I still want to see Sheriff Woody. Yeah, see what I mean? Kind of like, each one's a different loop, but keeps the same disparate elements. You can kind of see the plushie there too. Okay. And again, he's like stumbling through, like you would stumble through college, maybe. I don't know, maybe that's taking it too far. Again, it seems like they have different costumes based on maybe the different loop. Looks really good how the it spins around too. Excellent. Solil. Yeah, no, melted away. Hmm. Little too intense for you. It's like a sea creature here. It's interesting. It's like they say he says a different mean thing each time. Yeah. Like what? Hmm. Interesting animation there. Yes, it is. Yeah, I didn't pick you for the sporty guy. You seem way more at home in the movie club. Yeah. Hmm. Wasting. He should be showing some muscle growth or something. You'd think then. Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. That chicken and mushroom thing looked good though. Hmm. Oh, he's found it. Yeah. Even some illegal ones. Frugal fiend. Subasa. Hmm. They really wanted your bike. It was a really good bike. Hmm. Where's Ozu? I like how he names the bikes. uh, No. $4 late. Hmm. No, not Manami. Manami. Yeah, they're probably home, bro. And then the rains. Oh, man. Regrets it all, huh? Wants to go back and try something else, maybe? And again, they're in some kind of restaurant here. Is Ozzy going to show up? Higuchi-san. And Glenn Quagmire. Conservation of energy. Hyoka. Good. I am. I sense your fiercely earnest talent. Again, yeah, it went up. Raised again. Hmm. Cicada shell. Hmm. It's very interesting how he envisioned riding on the like a girl riding on the back of his bicycle. Hmm. And I'm gonna cheer her on for that. What are they doing? Hmm. They do have a feeble body. Become a bird. So again, this Birdman Society. Hmm. She's got a hair up. I like that. Okay. Embracing your imperfections, maybe. Hmm. I think I've heard of this. People do this, don't they? Like they make different things to try to fly as far as possible. Bit of a memory, perhaps, with, again, the moth. Hmm. Yes, it is. Hmm. Well, this is great. I think it is. On the back of Manami. Okay. Would you know? Look at him puffing his chest. You only care about one lady. Is he too buff now? He got too buff. He got too buff. Hmm. What are you going to have to say about the situation? Hmm. 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 In your dream? Icarus? Flying too close to the sun? And all these bridges, too. Hmm. I thought it might be him. Yeah. Are we now? Concerned about the bike? Hmm. Very smart. Bye. You've made a decision that you can't come back from? This is really well animated. It's not designed for you. Associated with water again, right? Hmm. And yeah, we're reversing back and we're gonna try something else next week. Cool. So one of my biggest worries going into future episodes was that it would get a little bit predictable. And this has alleviated my fears. Because we're still using these elements, right? But we're not overusing them. We're taking them in different directions and trying to say something else. Like there's certainly stuff to jump into, like regarding the whole Icarus metaphor, pedaling. Did he need to pedal? Why did he consider that he needed to be stronger to do this for Akashi-san? Does he need to be the same that he always was? And again, the moment that he decrees to join the bad guys, to turn to the dark side, Oz is there, right? And then the blame is entirely shifted onto him. And again, it's obviously very like kind of dream sequency, very trippy. Like it's hard to believe that that actually happened, but it's part of the show as well. Very cool, interesting. All right, let's jump into a little bit of analysis on that episode. Yeah, I kind of said my piece a little bit there in the ED as well, and I think it's probably best just to jump straight into the episode at hand and kind of dissect it piece by piece like that. But yeah, another really good episode introducing a number of different things to think about. It's not going to be the same concepts all the time, just similar concepts kind of flipped. And you'll see what I mean as I go through here, I think. So the episode starts and he's really proud of his new bike, right? It's obvious that, he's bought it, and this is kind of similar to last episode where we kind of skip ahead and see something kind of out of context before the context gets kind of filled in, right? So the premise kind of changes a little bit, right? Instead of wanting that rose-colored campus life immediately, he thinks I'm going to train and win like a race, and then I'll get the person of my dreams, and we'll ride off into the sunset together. Obviously, that is not the case. As he gets his bike stolen in this scene coming up. So this lock is unbreakable, save for a hydraulic cutter. And what do they bring? A hydraulic cutter. These guys are like Warhammer characters. They look like Warhammer like space orcs. So that's very fun. And they're all the henchmen of a mysterious trench coated man that's going around stealing all the bikes on campus. Again, something very similar to kind of breaking people up in the tennis club and kind of making these hit piece movies in the movie club, right? Something that's directly in contrast to the club that he's now a part of, right? He's put a bunch of effort into something, that effort's been slashed, and then he turns to the dark side. That's kind of the thing we have going on, right? But instead, at this point, he finds hope in Akashi-san in a different way. The hope that he finds is less romantic hope, even though there's a little bit of that implied. Instead, it's more of a successful kind of this is my destiny type hope. Like, this is my way to win a race instead of, all this needless pedaling. Again, very smart. You could take it in a million different directions. It's very cool. I like how they frame this kind of cycle club as like shady mafia type operators. Very cool. Quite a funny joke. And yeah, I had my suspicions from the start that it was, yeah, Ozu under there. So again, we start in a very similar space, and instead, this time he joins the Cycle Club, and he immediately knows that he wants to join the Cycle Club. But as always, his dreams get kind of shattered a little bit, right? There's going to be no situation in which his kind of queen is sitting behind him on a bicycle, right? See how he's kind of got wings there as well? Again, this whole Icarus metaphor they got going on. Icarus's wings, made of hardened wax, melted after it single mindedly flew straight towards the sun. And instead, I was left in a club where they only focus on kind of the athletic part of it, right? And again, Ozu's just around, because of course he is, right? So you could take the Icarus thing in multiple ways, right? So it was Icarus flying too close to the sun that he gung ho like went into the cycling club wanting this picture of perfection that wasn't what the cycling club was actually about. He flew too close to the sun in that he worked out too much for this job with the Birdman Society, right? He flew too close to the sun by buying this really expensive bike, hoping it would, fix everything, and it getting stolen. You can take it in a lot of different directions. That's why it's very well written. Again, we're casting Ozu as kind of a different kind of mythological creature here. He's a lot more slimy here. It's like a sea man, fish man, you know. They repeat dialogue here, which is cool as well. In the world of roadies, only the fast are recognized and praised. So he wants this praise, he wants to be fast. He wasn't, athletic in high school or anything, so kind of joining this athletic club for him is quite difficult. It's kind of ironic that in the end he gets the body to kind of participate in these kind of athletic clubs, and then it's little too late. He's already turned his focus to something else, something that doesn't require that, something that required him to be exactly the way he was without change. Again, I want to see what the overall kind of point of this show is by the end, right? What are they trying to say? Because I kind of understand it, right? But I think he just needs to do what's natural, and he'll get Akashi-san, and they'll live happily ever after. Something to that effect, I think. And again, this Kamatake guy, he's just kind of sticking around. He steals some of his protein chicken later on. He seems like a bit of a menace. Maybe that's inadvertently trying to turn him away from this path and turn him towards Akashi-san. Maybe. Interesting either way. I fear I haven't been praising the aesthetics of the show as much as I probably should. Uh, Still, the character animation is so on point. Again, the limited detail is helping them really flex their muscles in the animation department, which is awesome. As well as the backgrounds just being consistently interesting. Like, look at all the different patterns on all these leaves here. We go to a wider shot here, I think, somewhere. Yeah. Just the background looks awesome. Just all fits. It aesthetically fits together. It makes like a cohesive whole product. It's good. Again, continuing this whole metaphor, right? I'm going to pedal so fast on my bike that I grow wings and fly. And then tying that into the Icarus stuff and tying that into the Birdman Society and their want to fly and all these kind of contraptions, that kind of thing. So smart. I wanted to use the bicycle to fly, but instead I could have used Akashi-san and I would have flown naturally without changing anything about myself. I was perfect the way I was and should just be natural. Huh. Again, similar to the movie club, right? I should keep making these movies that I want to make instead of concerning myself with other people and making these kind of hit piece movies, right? I shouldn't join Ozu and go around stealing these bikes. I should be happy with the lot I've got in life and tying that back into the college experience. Again, just very smart. I actually can't praise this show enough. It's been absolutely blowing me away so far. It's so good. So we see him working hard on all these jobs, increasingly like ridiculous jobs as well. And this is all in service of buying this bike that he wants, but we know it's in vain because we already know that the bike gets stolen. We can also contrast this kind of his new bike with Manami, which is his older bike that he was using before this. His kind of pedal bike, his kind of basket bike. Um, that is what he had right at the start, right? That is a kind of a symbol for him at his base level without change, right? And in the end, they took that bike away because it wasn't suited for the competition that he was going into, because he is not suited for the competition that he's going into, right? And as soon as he gets back on his normal bike and gets together with Akashi-san, it, all kind of clicks. He finds his purpose in a way. Like the concept, I should have focused on Manami the whole time. She's the one I lost in all of this. And that could be applied to Akashi-san. I think there's something there. And then Akashi-san's riding this bike later. Like, yeah, this episode felt longer to me. It felt like there was more going on, I guess. I was kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop and Akashi to enter the scene for way longer than I thought. But yeah, he's still trying to do the whole bicycle club thing. He tries to take Manami on the road. He's 4 hours late on the course because they brought the bike back because they took it to the end because it wasn't competition ready. And yeah, and then he continues trying to ride it because he's part of the club. Of course, he's going to try and do the course. This is his road to like kind of his rose-colored campus life in a way, right? And it is absolutely not going to plan, but he is stubborn. He's going to stick the course and make it through, despite falling, getting punctured tires, it getting late, it raining, all sorts of stuff. And then to add insult to injury, we get another scene where they're, in kind of an eatery or a bar or something to that effect. And he sees on TV that the winner was Kyoto's Higuchi-san, or Kamotake as we know him anyway. And he won it with his bike. He's the one that stole the bike. Again, Ozu and this guy in cahoots in a way, right? And yeah, this kind of sends him over the edge, right? We see him get all the ladies that he wants, right? Yeah, here. So this is what I wanted my rose-colored campus life. Literally roses in the font in the frame there. This is what pushes him away from the bicycle club for good, the cycling club. Kind of rides away, rides away, rides away until he comes to this fortune teller again. Again, tells him a very similar thing about an opportunity that he can't let pass by. And then he goes and he sleeps on the riverbank after drinking a bunch. You can see all the drinks in his kind of basket there of Manami, and is visited by Akashi-san. Again, associating her very much with this opportunity. This time, the opportunity is way more literal. The opportunity here is to be part of the Birdman Society. Get a great visual metaphor here of a kind of cicada shell drowning in beer. And what does the cicada shell mean there? Like, it's not really you, it's like the discarded version of you. Like, is that how he feels right now? Like a cicada shell? Interesting. Again, in all the episodes so far, they've mentioned the Birdman Society, right? Which Akashi seemingly keeps being a part of, despite being, in these various different clubs as well, or at least associated with. She always mentions it anyway. I'm wondering if that's like a final solution for us. Is he going to choose the Birdman Society and then become happy? Everything's going to be fine. We're going to have to say. Or was that just a metaphor for this episode that they've set up? And we see a flip of his kind of fantasy, right? In his fantasy, he was the one riding the bike and she was the one, or somebody else was the one sitting behind. In this one, she's riding the bike and he's sitting in the back. There's something there, I think. So we get the backstory that we've kind of come to see with Akashi-san. She's extremely competent at something, but outwardly pretty cold. Cold with everybody minus our main character. Anyway, she introduces him to the Birdman Society, where they're going to try to fly this thing over the nearby lake. We get kind of this crazy professor character, and I hope he returns because he's quite funny. I really like his voice acting. So I hope he comes back as well. And we learned, yeah, you've got the perfect body for doing this Birdman thing. They do his measurements, and he kind of fits in perfectly with what they want. Also, the character design change here on Akashi-san is really good. I like her hair tied up and the kind of the jacket there. It's very good. You don't have to do anything in particular, so will you pilot it with that perfect body that you have right now? Yes, he will. And he kind of heeds the advice of the fortune teller in a way, right? There's an opportunity dangling right in front of you, and he grabs it, right? And yeah, he thinks afterward I'd sit behind Akashi-san as she rides up the cherry blossom lined incline. But then he looks back up at his roof and sees kind of these motivational posters that he's got, that he needs to win this race. He needs to be something greater than he is right now. Is it really okay to lower my future to such a shameless fate? To no longer shoot for the sun, but to live lazily on the ground. How is that Icarus? So he joins with Jogasaki-san again and tries to get buff, right? He tries to be something greater than what he is right now. He thinks, oh yeah, I'll fly in this thing and then I'll still, try to be this greater person than I am right now. I'm going to still improve myself. I'd fly further than anyone ever before. Icarus, right? And because he did this, the bad stuff happens. Grab victory and grab a woman's tits. Again, I'm just going to keep saying you could take it in a million different directions, but it's very cool. And then, yeah, if I get buff like this, I bet I'd need to broaden my vision to other women than just Akashi-san. And then, of course, he starts to fail. Now you've got muscles. You can't be the person that was flying this machine that we thought you could be. Then there's this very interesting kind of monologue from Akashi. What is it? Let me go from the start. Birdman is, after all, an absurd goal that goes against the reason of man. That's why I was thinking that the pilot should be a person with a soul charred by idleness and wasted passion. I heard that you finished the cup on a basket bike and you came all the way back from Shikoku. That's an incredible waste of energy. You'd be perfect for this. This kind of trying to achieve this unattainable goal. And then he has another dream. He dreams of himself, this new ripped version of himself, flying further than anybody has ever flown before, straight towards the sun. And then we get that harsh cut, right? He throws the stone into the water that's reflecting the sun. It becomes the moon. It's night. It's kind of the sky, the water. It's, from the highest highs to the lowest lows. And again, we're associating it with water. Because in the movie episode, he was on the bridge, kind of overlooking the water. Again, here's another bridge. The other one's another bridge. You talk about a bridge as a metaphor, water under the bridge, bridging from one side to the other. I don't know. There's some stuff there, I think, as well. You kind of sees rose-colored campus life flowing away into the direction of the cleanup corps, who have stolen Akashi-san's flying device. And who is this man in the trench coat? Why, it's Ozu, of course. Kind of this representation of all these negative feelings, right? Let's go around Kyoto stealing bikes. Only if I can aim mainly at couples riding two to a bike. Again, this whole, like, I hate couples type thing, this, like, kind of incel thing that he's got going on. And yeah, again, he's going to steal the bikes, the things that made him happy, he turned to the dark side of it, right? His goal, he didn't achieve it, things didn't go his way, and he's turning to these darker feelings. Only to be faced by Akashi-san in that situation. Get blamed for everything. He's trying to hold back as the kind of thing goes downhill, right? He's trying to hold against something that is inhuman, like a force of nature. There's so many levels to this, man. Oh, man. And I think the most pointed part is I'm going to try pedaling and fly. It's time for all my training to pay off. Where are the pedals? Tries to pedal. His body's not built for it. His legs go straight through. There aren't any pedals. We're in the free flying category. What are they trying to say here? Like the plushie's there, right? This is the representation of the opportunity. In the opportunity, he grasped it, but maybe the wrong opportunity. Again, in this whole Icarus thing again, but he's, flown into the ocean. Instead of the sky, he didn't fly to the sun, he flew into the ocean. He thought it was about pedaling. He thought he needed to get stronger. He thought he needed to go to the cycling club. He thought his experience and that would help translate to this. In reality, he just needed to stay exactly how he was. Could Icarus have rode the wind had he not tried so hard to flap his wings? And I think we'll end it there because then we kind of go into our sequence where we reverse and then straight into the ED. Yeah, that was amazing. Those 2 episodes were really, really good. I kind of see what the show's trying to get at now, which is really fun. Kind of these, and they're very different episodes too. So they got this time loop thing going on, but it uses a lot of different concepts. But trying to tell him the same thing, he's going to end up with Akashi-san, and he's going to need to change himself or not change himself to accommodate that. Just infinitely interesting. Again, I'm really keen to see some of the other interpretations once I get to the end of this show and can freely look stuff up, because this is really cool. It's also cool that there's some other stuff associated with this coming out now, so I'm on board. This is really awesome. I should have watched this sooner. Either way, that's enough for today, and gonna go edit this and upload this tonight, so I hope it's there if I don't run out of time, but we'll see. Either way, thank you very much for watching. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I can do to improve my presentation. If you like the video, like the video. If you like the video and want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. And I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter at the moment, so follow me on Twitter if you want to do that kind of jazz. Yeah, really enjoying the show and can't wait for next week, actually. 2 weeks from here, I think, so. Anyway, thank you very much again, and I'll catch you guys next time.